After a while, Jamie noticed Rob was having an accident as the infant didn't recognize he was leaking around the side of his diaper, causing a small but growing wet spot on his pants. Rob didn't seem worried about the mistake as his attention quickly was drawn away. Rob wasn't sure, but it seemed that he was never dry for long. For the past day or two, whenever Michelle changed him into a dry diaper, however, it was usually damp within half an hour. Rob assumed his sphincter muscles were undeveloped and too weak to maintain closure of the urethra. If the muscles can't sustain a constant pressure, small amounts will escape, usually unnoticed. But not always, as Rob could sometimes feel those small spurts when he bent over or giggled uncontrollably. Then a momentary burst of warmth surrounded his penis and groin before being absorbed into the diaper. Because of his growing inability to remain dry, Rob had become accustomed to feeling a bit wet and was quickly getting used to it. He didn't always notice when he started peeing. The sudden urge or pressure on his bladder didn't always happen. He was also convinced that there must have been a regular dribble, which also went unnoticed. This wetting was much more than a mere dribble but a full-blown accident. To Rob it was all the same, and unless he was uncomfortable he wouldn't bother to deal with it. Soon Michelle saw the mistake and proceeded to change him using one of Jamie's diapers, a request from the children since the brand she bought the other day didn't absorb well. The mothers saw this as a good time to get lunch out of the way before they could figure out how to reverse this situation. The children ate their food without incident as the women spooned it into their mouths. Once the pured baby food was finished, Marjorie removed a bottle from her diaper bag and laid Jamie back in her arms. Initially Jamie refused the bottle, squirming as he fussed as he felt awkward, but he quickly realized his embarrassment at acting like a baby was probably an overreaction. Finally accepting the bottle, he lay flaccid in her arms, wrapped his lips around the rubber nipple and began to rhythmically suck from the bottle of formula. After watching Jamie resist momentarily, Rob was not going to put up a fuss. Rob had long forgotten anyone was watching this immature display. All he could recognize in his simple world right now was his mommy's touch and his mommy's milk. He made eye contact with Jamie and so much was said without speaking a word. He could see an envy and wonderment in Jamie's eyes. To Rob it was obvious that his co-worker wished to be in his place getting nourishment. Once finished, Michelle put a clean diaper over her shoulder, rested Rob upon his underwear and proceeded to pat his back. Suddenly formula and a huge burp erupted from Rob. He looked over her shoulder and saw Jamie resting in Marjorie's lap, sucking his thumb, watching his friend. There was no surprise or shock in Jamie's eyes, only what seemed like interest and envy. Finally the two children were left in the playpen while the women exited to discuss their situation, caring for two new babies. There was a mall less than a kilometer away, so they felt comfortable leaving the children in Teddy's care for a short period of time. After giving Teddy their cell phone numbers and special instructions, they said goodbye to their babies and left the room.